This is a review / redirect video for Code Geass Season 2, Episode 18 and 19, 2-episode reaction. Click in the link in the description below to go watch my reaction, and then come back here to see my full thoughts and ideas and theories about these episodes, what happened in them, what might happen next, and my idea of what might happen next, so on and so forth. So click away now, or be spoiled as to what happened in these episodes. Okay. So, we basically finished up the fight in Japan. We had a betrayal, and a revelation from Zero kind of thing of what happened in regards to the war, that went down. The Britannian Empire did indeed use their bomb, which happened to be basically a bomb that atomized everything, left a void, and then everything got just sucked in, kind of thing. So, I mean, everything that was far away kind of got pulled in like a little bit, kind of thing. So it wasn't like a black hole kind of thing, but it was just like it left an empty void of literally nothing, like just a vacuum, and then everything just got kind of sucked in afterwards. The air pressure, I guess, got sucked in, causing all the ships to kind of like merge forward, kind of thing. Very destructive, essentially just atomizing the entirety of the structure, like the big kind of tower, castle looking building they had there at the start there. You can see like the cross section of like where the blast radius stopped, kind of thing. There's like this big kind of wall, almost like you're cutting into like a cake, kind of thing. Cut, and then take that piece out, and you can see like the cross section of the cake. That's pretty much what we saw. We saw like different rooms and like little, like we saw like a road with like a truck or a bus kind of thing, and the bus was cut in half, like exactly where the line stopped. Kind of parking lot with a couple of cars with like the back end shaved off, a couple other kind of rooms and stuff like that within that radius. I don't remember seeing any kind of dead bodies at all, kind of like, half cut or something like that. But no doubt that probably happened. I'm still kind of wondering about the refugees, survivors, whatever like that all ran to the school to get, support, kind of thing. Because, like, the only way that would happen is if they ran away from the fight when it happened, like they evacuated everybody, and then after the blast wave went off and the war stopped, the people came back, kind of thing, and their house was gone, so they had to kind of get help from the government or whatever like that. But it makes no sense that, because I don't know, it's just, to me, my brain is saying like it makes no sense that all of them were in the blast radius, because like everything was atomized. Literally everything was atomized. There was no like moment of there was no protection. There was nothing that they can hide, like in a bathtub, kind of thing, and then like, oh, they survived, kind of nothing. Atomized, like literally, like the ground and everything was a sheer, just smooth surface, like where like the bomb stopped, kind of thing, the blast wave stopped. So it's just to me, it's weird that there were so many kind of like people affected by it that you would think would have been in the blast. And maybe like a couple people were like affected by it, or something like that. But I don't know. It's just a little bit weird to me. But I'll overlook it for now. It's probably just something I'm overthinking or something like that. But anyways, we had Colin and her new nightmare. That was pretty cool. It had like these. I don't know if the wings were still there. No, I don't think the wings were there. New wings, kind of just like a new speed enhancer, essentially, like it's like super fast. I think it was 6th generation is what I think was mentioned. think it was 6th generation. Because when she was turning on the device, there was something about it, like a 6th, a 6, whatever like that. Or was it a 7? I don't think it was 7. I think it was a 6. So yeah, I mean, it was stronger than the Lancelot, and the Lancelot was the strongest nightmare they had, but it was also kind of like the prototype of like the new generation nightmares. And then we had the other ones with like Excalibur and all the Knights of the Round and everything, who had like the super mechas that had special weapons and bombardment tools and swords and whatever. So yeah, it was pretty interesting to see Colin kind of use it to its full advantage, basically. But apparently she was only using it at like a set percentage, from what the one guy was saying. He was saying it wasn't finished, and it was like working at like 60% or something like that, or she could only use it at 60%. But so if that's the case, then it's just like it's like nearly like or just half of the power that it has, which it was just blown away Suzaku's nightmare. Like ripped off arms, legs, destroyed his gun. I mean, it was just like it had like a field day, which is like just going toe to toe with Suzaku. It was just, had no issue. Even when like the rockets were flying towards her and everything, and like following her and everything, she was just dodging it real quick, just zipping all around and everything. So, damn. Yeah, the whole fight was pretty cool, I guess. To see all the different kind of nightmares and stuff go toe to toe. And but we did have the one guy, Knight of 10, I think, number 10 dude, who was the drill arm kind of guy, whatever. He turned out to be a killer that uses war as his method of killing, because he was explaining how essentially in war, or if you kill someone off the battlefield, you're a murderer, but if you kill somebody on the battlefield, it's just collateral damage or something like that. I can't remember what he said, but that's essentially kind of the gist of it. So he's using war to justify his need to kill people. So yeah. And then Colin just destroyed him so easily. She like just destroyed his drill arm, and then just used the palm weapon on him and just destroyed everything. But yeah, I mean, Zero was, or I should say Lelouch, was going crazy with trying to find Nonali. I think it was just shell shock, essentially. He just couldn't comprehend that both Nonali died, and they had the super weapon, the nuke, essentially. Which, I'm wondering if Schneisel even has one of those nukes on board, or if that's a bluff. I would think it's a bluff, but at the same time, I don't know. Because like he would kill himself. I guess he would kill himself if the moment was needed. If that was the only thing he saw to happen, kind of thing. I don't know what the freak the Emperor's doing. He seems to be. I think what's happening is he's going to Japan because that's like the only place to activate Ragnarok, or he's been going around the Earth, like the entirety of it, kind of thing, activating all these Ragnarok stations to activate the whole Ragnarok, which apparently is going to just wipe out everything on the surface. So if mankind knew about that, there'd be some people interested about, why the Emperor has as much power as he does. I mean, essentially, he's a god. He has the emblem of the code on him, kind of thing. I am still interested on who has C2's code. I bet you that was a little tease with C2. I mean, obviously C2 might not, or doesn't know about the code power and how it works or anything like that, but I feel like it's like a little tease at Lelouch having the code power. He just doesn't know it. I feel like he has it on his body somewhere. He just hasn't looked, kind of thing. Obviously not his hands, because he always has the hands out and looking at his hands and doing stuff with his hands, whatever. But I'm thinking like on his back where he can't reach or look, or on the back of like his neck or like head. Well, maybe not the neck, because the neck kind of portion was always visible to people. Because people would always be like, "Oh, cool tattoo," whatever, and he'd be like, "What? Where?" You're gonna look for it. So I feel like it's definitely somewhere on his body, because we haven't seen him gotten hurt yet. So like I'm waiting for him to actually get hurt and then realize that he can super heal, and then that's like the revelation, like the oh my god, he's got the power. I don't know, because we saw the Emperor. He just has the one code on his hand. So I'm not sure if, because that was V2's code that he got, was on his hand. So I'm wondering if C2's power did transfer to him, but in the same tattoo, or marking or whatever like that, or he has a different marking somewhere else. Or, like I mentioned, Lelouch has it, but just like on his back or somewhere where you can't see it, and he just doesn't feel it or doesn't know that he has the power of code, because the one girl who was attacking him, the one nightmare girl, the one of the knights, she attacked Lelouch, and she had that kind of moment of like flipping out because she was dealing with somebody with code. The only downside that I see with this theory is that Rollo was able to use his Geass power on Lelouch. And if Lelouch had the code power trumps the Geass power, and you can't use Geass on code users. So that kind of breaks it. But I mean, that could also mean that he just doesn't, like, again, realize that he has the code power, and he needs to kind of like unlock that power in order to actually use that defense, kind of thing. Because the code power to not be harmed by Geass, that kind of seems like a thing you have to activate or something like that. Like, you have to like realize that you have code and then feel it in your body, kind of thing, and then like kind of activate it, and then it's like unlocked, kind of thing. Your whole body kind of has code then. So maybe that's I don't know. There's some flaws in that theory. It would be a cool theory. It would be cool to see freaking Lelouch with code. But yeah. So, it's gotta have gone somewhere. I don't suspect the Emperor to have both C2 and V2's power. Maybe he does. I don't know. I don't know if that makes him like a supreme god, or just like I don't know what that does to him. I don't know if that gives him more power. Like, he can give people stronger Geasses with double code powers. Or does it make it more effective? Does it make it so he can... I don't know. There's a lot there that I'm kind of like iffy about, like if he does have the code power or not. Somebody has it. Somebody has C2's code power. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's not done yet. Maybe C2 is in a state of like halfway, right? Because C2 has to die, right? I'm pretty sure she has to die for the code power to be transferred. She was in the midst of dying from the Emperor, but then Lelouch stopped the process. So it's kind of like halfway, right? It's like her power seems to be gone, kind of thing. It could still be in her head, just not visible. Yeah, maybe. That theory is kind of in the works still. But that's kind of the idea that I just thought up of, was like maybe C2 has her code power, but she was halfway to being killed to transfer the person, or transfer her code power to the person that killed her. But it was stopped midway. So her power was not transferred, it's just locked away somewhere. So C2 might still have her power. She just doesn't know she has it. Like her memory wiped, the power was removed or locked away inside her mind until she's fully, gone. And then the power's pushed on to the person who killed her. Because Lelouch was able to harm her. We haven't seen anybody else attempt to harm her. C2. Because Lelouch got a backhand or slapped kind of thing with the plate, and the plate broke, and then cut her finger. And the started to bleed, kind of thing. So that was in the act of Lelouch attacking her. And from what I understand, I think is like if you have a contract with a code user, the Geass user is able to harm the code user in order to transfer their power to them based on their contract. Because the code user wants to hand off their code power to the Geass user, but they hide that fact until they're ready. So yeah, the Geass user is the only one who effectively can kill the code user. So I don't know. There's so much stuff that it makes sense. It makes sense, but there's so much more that it doesn't quite match up. It all makes sense, but it doesn't quite make sense. It's kind of like a middle ground where it could be possible, but not possible. Could be a thing, but not a thing, right? It's just like everything I think of, it's just oh, that could be the thing, and then I realize, no, that can't be a thing. Or it could be possible, could not be possible, it could be a thing. But anyways, that's kind of what I'm thinking of right now. Just a bunch of stuff. So I'll leave it there. What did I forget? Because I didn't talk about all the episodes, or both episodes. I kind of got on a tangent about the code power, but let's see. The big bomb went off. People died. Lelouch got kind of weird. The betrayal. Lelouch is by himself now, but he's clear-headed now, so that's good. So he's got 6 episodes to figure out how to kill the Emperor. Yeah. Let's see, what else? Rollo died, sacrificed himself by using his Geass to the utmost extreme, which was pretty interesting. Because Lelouch's Geass doesn't have a backfire like that. It doesn't harm him to use his power. He can use his power as much as he wants with no side effects. But Rollo's power, I guess, takes a toll on his heart, and that might be because he's not a genuine Geass user. he's like an experiment kind of thing. I mean, obviously, he got the power from V2 or some kind of instance of V2. But like, I don't think he's a proper like contract proper Geass user. So it might be just straining on his system, or some kind of like error in the Geass kind of code, kind of thing to kill him, for using it. I don't know. Like, we might never know. Who knows? But I think that's pretty much it. Let's see. Yeah. I'm assuming next episode is we're gonna start to kind of see. Well, okay, so obviously next episode, I'm sure we're gonna see Lelouch kind of gain his ground back and maybe win the hearts of the Black Knights again to, win the fight, essentially, get back to where he was. Obviously there's gonna be a lot of wounded hearts and minds and everything about Zero and, all that kind of stuff. But it shouldn't really matter. Like, they know now that he's, like, a prince of Britannia, but it shouldn't really matter, that fact at least, that like he's a prince kind of thing, because he's acting to go against the royal family, against the emperor, all that kind of stuff, wholeheartedly. But the fact that he does kill people and use his Geass on people to kill people for him, like the princess and stuff, who killed a bunch of Japan people and everything, those are valid points. In those kind of instances, yes, he's a monster. He did do the landslide thing too as well, that killed a bunch of people down below. He used Geass and the princess. The princess ordered the hit on killing everybody in the stadium and beyond, until it was stopped. What else? I remember there were a couple other bits that people might find interesting that he did with his Geass power that affected others. I mean, the whole fact that the brother prince, I can't remember his name, Schneisel. I keep thinking that that's the dead brother, but I don't know why. Anyways, the prince guy who's on the ship with them right now, the Britannian prince, he kind of threw out the idea, like, I don't know, I'm not sure if I am, under the influence of his Geass kind of thing, and that kind of got like a worm inside all the minds of all the Black Knights, and they're like, he could have used it on me, and all this kind of stuff like that. So that was kind of I'm sure a sneaky tactic to kind of get them more on his side, rather than, or to get them to betray Zero. Was that little sneak of information? Is like, well, you could be under the influence, you could have done something to you, because there's no way to know, like, unless like the order that he gave you is something that you don't typically do, almost like the one night for the princess, what was her name? The purple haired girl who was on the ship, who was about to jump, and then they stopped her, and then Steindl came up and got her. Her knight, the one that made it so whenever he did this kind of movement on her collar, the knight assumed that Lelouch was the princess. That guy. He was kind of like questioning it. He's like, what am I doing? And then just it happened again, kind of thing. So it's, if they don't have that kind of moment of like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? What like that? If they don't have that, then they're fine. Like, Because we know that Suzaku, he knows he got Geass to stay alive, like, live. And that was, like, he knows he keeps doing it, like, live, and then he just does stuff to live. Even though he wants to die or something like that, or he wanted to die in a certain way or whatever. I don't know. It's a interesting tactic by Snigel to just bring up that fact. It's like, I don't know if I'm Geass. I'm sure he knows he's not Geass. He's just saying it because the Black Knights are new to all this, and they have no idea how it works or what to look out for and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, interesting. Well, next week we move on to episode 20 and 21 on Monday, and then Wednesday we four episodes, 21, 23, 24, and 25, the final 4 episodes of the season. And then the week after that we move on to the OVA movies, which take place after season 1, before season 2, in between the 2 seasons. So that should be pretty interesting to see that is all about. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next Monday for some more Code Geass. Take care, buddy.